Hey, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. And I'm your host, C Money, and we are in our second show. Like I said earlier, I was going to do another show of another topic that we discussed. And since it's a beautiful day, I just decided to come outside. This is a topic that I want everybody to weigh in on because it is the presidential election of 2024. And what I'm opinion on that is because this is one of going to be the most iconic history-making presidential elections. You had former President Donald J. Trump against Joe Biden, and this is one of the president elections that we're all going to remember. First off, you had someone who tried to assassinate Donald Trump at one of his campaign rallies, and this is probably one of the first that I've ever known of somebody assassinating somebody at a campaign rally. Remember, John F. Kennedy got assassinated and killed when he was riding in his car alongside in the parade, and then you had Abraham Lincoln was shot in a theater on a balcony, and stuff like that. So it may have been an assassination attempt at a rally, but I mean, this is the first that I've ever heard that it actually happened. And then now you have that President Joe Biden has taken his name out of the race for presidential election for the 2024 election. And honestly, in my opinion, I blame Congress for this, and I blame government officials. Because just last week and just a month or two ago, Biden was like, I'm not leaving, I'm staying, I'm running. And all of these people, from government officials to politicians, Congress to celebrities, a lot of them, they was like, he needs to leave, he needs to get out of office. And you know what's the sad part about it? They're pushing him out because mainly it's because of his age. And I look at that, I said that is the most stupidest, stereotypingest thing ever. You're doing this, you're doing the same thing that companies do to elderly people. Um, I've seen it on several episodes of TV shows, I've seen it in real life where a lot of these companies, once you reach a certain age, they force you to retire. You know, um, with my mom back in the early 2000s, my mom got sick at work, and she started getting sick, and when she actually went to Social Security Administration, they told her, you are way past the um, retirement age. And my mom was in her 60s, now she's in her 80s, and they was telling her, you're way past the retirement age. And the way you're doing it with Joe Biden, because most people, when they want to kick somebody out of office, it's because of they're not doing their job, they are under investigation, or if something happened between them, they got convicted or something like that. And I'm sitting up here like, okay, why is it the fact that you're trying to remove this man out of office because of his age? Not one time that I heard somebody say, "Oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do that." Only Donald Trump saying that, because Donald Trump, put out a statement talking about he's the worst president ever and blah blah blah. I want to say, really, he is the worst president ever? So you're not going to talk about the presidents out there who was the presidents during slavery that didn't help the slaves. You're not going to talk about the presidents out there who didn't help, out there. President Joe Biden helped us through this pandemic. Remember, when President Biden got elected, we was just starting the pandemic. Because the pandemic started in what? The first cases started in late 2019. We started seeing the first cases, and that was only in other countries. In the early 2020s, from January to February, you started seeing cases pop up in the U.S. By the time the U.S. was shut down, because we were shut down until mid 2021, because the NBA, National Basketball Association, shut down in February. You know, and football, they had a late start to the football season. They a lot of these Restaurants got shut down. A lot of these businesses got shut down. Government buildings got shut down. So when Joe Biden became president, we were still in the pandemic. And Joe Biden helped us get through this pandemic. Because remember, Donald Trump said, no, I want to open everything back up. President Joe Donald Trump said, I want to open everything back up and get the company back and get the country back up and running. Joe Biden said, no, I don't want to open up everything right now. I want to open up everything slowly and safely to where we can get it back up and running. Yeah, we knew there was a lot of people that was hurting because they didn't have jobs and they needed money and stuff like that. But your health is a concern. Joe Biden led us through a pandemic. And y'all did not once say Joe Biden didn't do this, Joe Biden didn't do it. Yeah, I had a couple of people and a couple of friends and stuff when we had conversations about it. There's people that say, oh yeah, Joe Biden hasn't done nothing for this country. Joe Biden had to do. Yes, but in the public eye and government, I have not heard Congress come up and say, we don't want Joe Biden in the office because he didn't do this, he didn't do that. All I'm hearing is he's too old. You got to realize Joe Biden is not going to be the last person of office to run at an older age. And this puts me back into the perspective of what I was just saying a few minutes ago. You know how a lot of companies, once you reach a certain age, they say, oh, we don't want you no more. We want you to retire. We want you to leave the company, or we're letting you go because you're 60 years old, you're 70 years old. You have to realize something. The retirement age rises every year, because now it's probably 70, 71 years old to retire. You got people still. I looked at the news, and there was a 90-something-year-old woman working at a park, and I don't think she was working at the park because she needs the money. I just think she worked at a park because she loves what she loved what she's doing. And a lot of these people, they're working. I've seen 90-year-old people that are out there working. And you got to realize Joe Biden probably is one of the most healthiest people out there. You know why? Because there has to be a physician or a doctor that lives in the White House. So if anything happens to Joe Biden, the doctor is right there and the doctor is on call. Because I'm quite sure they have a doctor that lives inside of that White House. So he has to be one of the healthiest people. I'm not saying he is 100% healthy because, he doesn't do everyday daily regimens. He doesn't do vitamins, supplements, and take these by healthy drinks and juices and stuff, because I know I'm not healthy. I eat cheeseburgers and fries almost every other day. I'm not saying that I do it, but I'm not a health junkie. I don't exercise on a daily basis. I don't, eat healthy foods and, watch what I eat. I eat what I like, So I know with Joe Biden, he may not be the healthiest person out there as far as food-wise and eating and all that other mess, but he is one of the healthiest people out there, because I'm quite sure every day he gets, every other week he gets a checkup, because that's one of the people that has to stay healthy. You are the commander-in-chief, so you have to be one of the healthiest person out there. You may not be eating right, or you may not be eating healthy, or you may not be exercising the way you exercise, but of course you're a 70-something-year-old commander-in-chief. You have to know that your health is more concerned, because if anything happened, of course you got the vice president, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute, but still, you want to keep the president as healthy as possible. So I look at it as if, why are y'all condemning this man to run and to leave office when you know that man is good for this company? This is a talk show, so I can't really express, I can give my opinions and stuff like that because I'm not a newscaster, or I don't work for a national news company like Fox or ABC or anything of that nature, or stuff like that, to where I have to censor what I censor, but there are things, and I laugh. Donald Trump, when he said, oh, he's just been the worst president in the history of the United States. I'm like, the worst? Do you understand what this man is doing for us? But you want to call him the worst president? Come on now, we've had far worse presidents than ever. We've had presidents that have been in far worse scandals. Like when just like back when Obama became president. At one point it was Obama came in and he had to fix everything that Bush demolished. When 9/11 hit, nobody was out there. They were just fighting. They had, where they had to, go back and attack Iraq and everybody. They had to go do these things. You have to realize, and everybody said it, this war wasn't about finding Osama bin Laden. It was about money. Because if you wanted to find Osama, you would have been found him and killed him. Obama got into office, and in his second term of office, he ended up killing Osama bin Laden because the Americans knew what they wanted. They wanted that man dead. You killed my uncle. You killed my aunt. You killed my cousin. You killed my daddy. You killed my mom. You had a plane run into the World Trade Center, and it collapsed and fell down, killing thousands of people. You know, you killed my mom who was in the World Trade Center. You killed my daddy who was in. Well, I'm saying hypothetically speaking, because my mom, was not in New York. But I'm just saying this is what these people are talking about. So you had a man that came in here and say, let's just stop this. Every Republican that got into office wanted to continue this war to the point where you was going to kill thousands and thousands of more people. And now I look at it as if Biden is in here trying to help people out, trying to give people, you got these college forgiveness programs where they're helping you, pay off your student loan debt, and you got where he's trying to help people, create jobs for people and do things like that. But you have to realize something. What does his age have to do with anything? You have 70 and 80-year-old and 90-year-old people that are still out here working. And some of them have to work. Why? Because they don't have money saved up to retire and live off the money. And the way that Social Security is going, you can't afford to live off of Social Security. Some people get $800-900 in Social Security. That's not enough to survive off of. When you got potato chip that used to be 25 cents 10 years ago, it's now 75 cents. When you got canned sodas that used to be 25 cents is now 75 cents to $1. When you got all the cost of living going up, when apartments that used to be $400 for a one bedroom is now $1,000 for a one bedroom, and that's living in the hood. That's not living in the suburban area or the upscale neighborhood. You renting out one bedroom apartments for $1,000+, and you got to look at this. That's ridiculous. So how is you got and these people have to work? I see a lot of them. Why you think you go in a lot of these fast food restaurants? You see elderly people working in these fast food restaurants because a lot of these companies are letting go these people because they feel as if, okay, you're 70 years old. We don't need you no more. We want somebody younger for this position. You're past your retirement. So now we're letting you go so we can bring somebody in that's young and more vibrant and more. And these people have given these companies a lot. So for me, you're doing the same thing to Joe Biden. You're saying, oh, you're old. We don't want an old man in office, so we're going to let him go. But I'm sitting up here like, why? If this man is doing what this country wants them to do, why would you let him go? And now he's backing up Kamala Harris, which I believe is the greatest thing ever. But in my opinion, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to give you my opinion on that in a minute. Because number one, I'm going to give my opinion on that right now. Because number one, she is the first female, if she was to win, the first female, and not only the first female, she's going to be a triple threat. She's going to be the first female to be elected as a president. She's also going to be the first African American female to be elected president. And then she's going to be the first out of being drawn into running after a withdrawal, because I've never known a person to say, I'm withdrawing my candidacy for president, but I'm going to endorse my vice president. I've never seen that. So she's going to be a triple threat, and that's not a threat, that's a triple success. And you know that America is not finna let an African American, let alone a African American woman, become president yet. You see what happened with Hillary Clinton. She tried to run for president, and what the country said, no, we're not ready for a female president. We're not ready. So now what you think they're gonna say now? No, we're definitely not ready for a female president, and she's black too. No. You still have racism all over this country to the point where you can go into certain cities and certain states and they still have racism. So you automatically think that they're ready for African American female president. We got Obama over the technicality, and I've said this several times in my previous episode. One of the reasons why Obama came into action because a lot of these people wanted this war to end. You know, a lot of these people got tired of their family members getting killed in Iraq and then going overseas, and they get killed in this war, and every time you turned around, somebody was getting killed. So they got tired of the Republicans killing off their family members in this war. So they said, look, let's get a Democrat in. And no doubt about it, his second year of term, he got rid of him. Now, most people thought that his first term, he was going to actually change in this war. But you know, it takes time for you to end the war. You just can't come into office and then by the second or third year, or by the first or second or third year, you was going to end the war. No, it takes time. He started pulling troops out of areas. He started doing certain things. And then in his second term, he killed Osama bin Laden. That's what people wanted. And they felt like that it was time. And then when they got the war over, okay, now we can put a Republican back in the office. And that's what they did with Donald Trump. They got a Republican in. But then when they started looking at Donald Trump, everybody praised Donald Trump for one reason. Those stimulus checks. Those pandemic checks. That's what everybody was praising him for. But you have to realize Obama did Donald Trump did not. Government had to approve them checks regardless, because if they didn't have those stimulus checks, everybody would be homeless. You know how many people out here would be homeless right now if it wasn't for those pandemic stimulus checks? I know friends that relied off of those stimulus checks to pay their rent so they can stay where they were staying. You know how many people would have been homeless? The whole entire country, if you wasn't a politician or a celebrity or big time multi-million-dollar person with a business, you was gonna be homeless. Everyday person like me would have been on the street if it wasn't for those stimulus checks. Everyday person like a cook at a restaurant or a manager at an office business, they would have been out of work, because who in their right mind, when the pandemic shut down, Donald Trump was only here for the beginning of the pandemic. Joe Biden carried out the rest of the pandemic. And you know what he did? He kept it going. And a lot of people say, oh, Donald Trump led us into the pandemic and he helped us with those stimulus checks. I said, those stimulus checks did not come from Donald Trump. They came from Congress, and they came from him passing law to help people keep living. Because a lot of these people, number one, they lost their jobs. Number two, they couldn't work, so they couldn't pay their bills. And you couldn't look for a job because nobody was hiring at the point, because either their jobs had closed down or they had closed during the pandemic and can't reopen. And then number three, where was you gonna go? How was you gonna do anything? You know, you still got to eat, you still got to live. And you know, you had some apartment complexes and some buildings that they was lenient on, you know, paying rent and stuff like that. But then you also had other apartments that said, hey, we don't matter if you lost your job or not, we still want our rent. So how can you say that, oh, you know, Donald Trump was the one that gave us those stimulus checks? No, Congress gave us the stimulus checks. You got to realize something. The president does not run the world, does not run this country. You know who run this country? Congress. Because remember, any bill that the president wants to put into law and get passed, he has to run it through Congress first, and they have to pass it. Any bill that Congress puts into law and wants to get passed, they have to run it through the president. So you got to realize, it's a tit for tat. Congress runs this country. The president is the commander of chief. Anything that he says has to get, man. You know, like when you go and you work for a company and you got the CEO, but instead of going to the CEO, you have to go through human resources, because CEO is just the person who started the business. Human resources is the person you go to when you got problems or money problems, or you want to raise, or you know, something wrong with your paycheck. You don't go to the CEO and say, hey, I'm missing a couple of hours on my paycheck. No, you go to human resources. Those are the ones who run the company. And human resources in America is like Congress. Congress is like human resources. You don't go to the president and say, hey, president, I didn't get my stimulus check, or hey, president, I didn't do this and do that. No, you go to Congress, you know. Just like when you're in your cities, Who do you go to get things fixed? You go to your city officials. You go to your commissioners, your mayor, your city officials. You don't go to Congress and say, hey, I live in Miami and I have a big old pothole that's in my street. Can I get it fixed? No, you go to your city officials and say, hey, this is a pothole that's in my street. I need it fixed. Congress is not the one to go to for everything. Your president is not the one you don't go to. You go to Congress. Any law that is being pushed to get passed, it has to go through Congress before it can get to the president. And that's just automatic. So for them to say, oh, he is too old to run this company, what? He's not running this country. He's too old to run this country. He's too old to be the president. Congress run this country. That man just sit back and just say, okay, Congress, this. He may have a say-so on certain things, but he's one of them people where, he doesn't run this. Congress runs this. And for them to say he is too old to run this, to me, that's just ridiculous. It's real ridiculous. It's real, messed up, and it's real crazy because I know a lot of people out there. See, when my mom, when she got sick, like I told you earlier, she got sick on the job, and she started, she stopped working. She had to stop working because she kept getting sick. And, her health was deteriorating to the point that she had to stop working. But my mama still wanted to work at the age. She was in her 60s when she started getting sick, and she wanted to still work, And if my mom could work to this day, she would, because right now, look at the cost of living, you know. Here in Miami, a one bedroom costs you about $1,200 to $1,300, and that's the minimum. You're lucky if you find a $500, $600, $700 apartment. You're lucky if you find that. I see on social media, studio apartments is going for $1,500 a month, and I think studios. You know what studios is? A one big old room with just a bathroom, and some of them don't even have appliances. So, and then you look at it as if, how can these people work? Not, how can these people survive when cost of living goes up every year? And you got to look at some of the things that are happening. And Biden is healthy. Not once that I seen somebody say, "Oh, Biden, he shouldn't be president because he didn't do this or he didn't do that and we didn't do this." I did not see once. I haven't heard once somebody say that they criticize that they don't want him being president because they criticize him for his work. Yeah, I've heard people, local people say, yeah, Biden hasn't did enough for this country, blah, 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 whatever. But that's normal because you hear that about every president. Some people say the same thing about Obama. Most people say that about Donald Trump. You've heard it through Bush and Clinton and all these other presidents. Yeah, you get them negative people that say, oh, Clinton didn't do this. Clinton didn't do nothing for this country. Oh, Bush didn't do nothing for this country. Oh, Obama didn't do nothing for this country. Donald Trump didn't do nothing for this country. Jimmy Carter didn't do nothing for this country. You get people like that. But at the same time, this is the first time I've ever heard them say, oh, we don't want this man out of office. We want this man out of office because he's old. Yeah, the man just tested positive for COVID-19. But that proves to you that even if you got vaccinated and boosted, because the president has to get every type of shot there is, from the monkeypox to COVID-19 to the booster shots to whatever, he had to get all those vaccines because he was the president, and then he had to prove to the company, I'm the president. If I can get the vaccine and get vaccinated, you can too. But we knew that those vaccines was not effective. They just only helps you and prevent it from getting worse in your body. But we know those COVID shots does not help you or prevent you from getting COVID. It just helps, it keeps it from getting worse. And I look at it as if y'all look at that man and y'all keep that man to the point where this is Joe Biden. He is not going to be the last president that's going to run for president at that age. So stop condemning the man and stop ridiculing the man for being an elderly man. That man, to me, is a good president. I would want to hear people commenting on him about his things he did in office. Yeah, if you say, oh, Joe Biden didn't do this, Joe Biden didn't do that, then I would be like, okay, maybe that's your opinion of him not being in the office. But I would not say I do not want a man in office because he is 70 years old. And to me, I feel that is the most disgustingest thing ever. you know. And that's basically what a lot of these politicians, what a lot of these celebrities, and a lot of these people are, you know. And I was disgusted when I heard about it. I was pissed off when I saw that with Biden. And I say, Biden didn't leave on his own terms. America pushed him out. Because they even said it on the news. Just last week, Biden said, I'm not going nowhere. I'm sticking to my candidacy and running for president. Now, all of a sudden, well, I'm dropping out of the race for president. And then they say he wrote a statement that he is only going to be concerned about, he's going to continue to serve this country until his term is up. And I'm like, dude, just last week you was pushing that you was running. Now you're all of a sudden you're dropping out. You allow these people in your life to control your life. Some of these Congress officials, some of these politicians, they wanted him out because of his age, and they felt like he was up there in age and he wasn't unfit. Dude, you know how many people out here in their 70s and their 80s that are still working? Some of them are disabled. Some of them are in perfectly healthy shape. But you don't see somebody saying, oh, you need to stop working because you're old. I knew people in my job that was working, and they was in their 60s and 70s, and they was working. There are some people at my job right now that are in their 70s that is working. Why? Because some of them need the money because they can't afford to live off of Social Security. Social Security only paying you $600, $700, $800, or how much Social Security paying you. They're not paying you enough. If you get paid $1,000 a month in Social Security and your rent is $1,200, you need an extra $200 to pay your rent. You also need an extra $300-$400 for utilities. That's cell phone bill, lights, water, gas, car payments, and then you also got to eat. So how you gonna expect to live off of that if you ain't got no money? If you ain't got no cushion money. So a lot of these things, I put that into factor. Like, y'all running this man out of office because of his age. Like, run the man out of office because he did a sexual scandal, or he did something that is, violates his term in the office, or something that, like with Donald Trump and the Stormy case situation, or something like that. Yeah, I would run him out of office because, like if Donald Trump was in office and the Stormy case situation happened, yeah, let's kick Donald Trump out of office. But I'm not going to kick Donald Trump out of office because he's 70 years old or he's in his 60s or something. No, you know what that is? That's stereotyping, and that's not equal opportunity employer. You're letting this country know that it doesn't matter what position you have. You are bound to be removed from your position because of your age. You can be because remember, CEOs of companies, they're not even the highest person in the ring. You know who's over these CEOs? Let's say you owned McDonald's, and you're the CEO of McDonald's. You got to realize you're not the boss. You know who's the boss of you? The food safety people, the health inspectors, the Better Business Bureau. Because if they come in and say you got to shut down all of your businesses, you can't do nothing but shut down all of your businesses, because the food and safety administrators, the food and drug safety administrators, if they come in there and say your business got to shut down, you got to shut down. Even if you have a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, if the government comes in and say you got to shut down, you have no choice but to shut down. It's not up to you. And it's sad to say that we are one of the countries that will put a man out of office or put a man out of work because of his age. And to me, that is disgusting, because that's what you did with Biden. Y'all pushed that man. Y'all was like the bullies pushing this man out of office. And you actually pushed him too far out of office to where he just up and said, I'm quitting. That's basically what Joe Biden said. He's saying, I'm quitting. I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice, and when my 2 weeks are up, I'm out. Basically, that's what he's saying. So he's saying, when my presidency is up, when my term is up, I'm out. And that's basically what he's doing. He's saying that I'm out. I'm not running for election, getting reelected. I'm going to endorse Kamala Harris because she is the vice president, and she's not going to get elected. I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I believe she's the best fit for this because she was a vice president. But that the country is going to say, We didn't get the first woman president in, which was Hillary Clinton. We didn't get her in, so why would we get the next one in? And this one is an African American female, so you know they're not going to let her in. So, as a point, we're doomed for we're destined for doom. We're doomed. We are doomed. You know. And then I was watching The View earlier, where Whoopi Goldberg was talking about, and they were not Whoopi Goldberg. They was talking about on The View. You have a convicted felon with a prosecutor. Donald Trump is a convicted felon, and then you have a prosecutor because Kamala Harris used to be a prosecutor. And I'm saying we don't need somebody like Donald Trump in there, because all this legal stuff that he's going through, and y'all still letting him run. I want to know what y'all think about this. Comment at the bottom of this page. Email me, roundtable00@yahoo.com. This is one of the most iconic, history-making presidential elections out there, because this is ridiculous. And it pisses me off to see that this country runs people out of their positions because of their age. This country runs people out of work because they're too old. And to me, do you feel that it was right for running Joe Biden out of office? Do you feel that they was right to tell him to not run again? Or do you think it was wrong? And my opinion. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Let me know how you feel. Comment at the bottom of this page. I thank you for watching. Don't forget to click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our other videos and check out our playlists. This is the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money. Stay blessed, stay safe, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.